player 2 has joined the game.
Habroxia 2 is the sequel to 2019's Habroxia from LillyMo Games, who also developed Perils of Baking and Twinbreaker, a Sacred Symbols adventure. Habroxia 2 is available on PS4, Vita, Switch, Xbox One, and Steam. It's an old-school space shoot-'em-up consisting of horizontal and vertical scrolling level sections where you are tasked with saving the galaxy again from alien invaders. It is also the best game that LillyMo Games has created up to this point. Let's get into it.
The presentation of Habroxia 2 will be very familiar if you played the original. However, everything has been improved. The graphics are very similar, yet seem to be a bit more polished and clean looking than in the original, while remaining true to the aesthetic of a retro-style shoot-'em-up. Everything seems to be moving faster compared to the original, and there's a lot more going on the screen at any given point. The addition of an overworld is a small, yet very important addition to the overall feel of the game. Rather than choosing from different levels from a purely text-based menu, the player now flies their ship to the various levels they wish to take on. The music has been improved quite a bit over the original, with catchy tracks that seem to fit the gameplay to a T. There are several tracks available that the player can choose from in the pause menu.
The biggest change that Habroxia 2 makes over its predecessor is the addition of twin-stick base controls. At first, the twin-stick controls are a bit jarring after the more standard control scheme introduced in the first game, but with just a tiny bit of practice, it becomes evident that the new system is an improvement in every way over the first game. Using the right stick to aim at enemies not in your direct line of sight adds more strategy and control to your ship, allowing you to batter the aliens from any possible angle. You also get two special attacks that can be equipped before each level, one that fires to the right and one that fires to the left. More special attacks unlock as you make your way through the campaign, along with more powerful versions as well. All of this lets you figure out which attacks and strategies work best for you and allow for multiple approaches to each level and boss fight. Speaking of bosses, one thing you will notice if you play the original is that a great deal of the enemies and bosses are the same from the first game. This isn't a huge deal to us, but it is worth mentioning. Throughout the levels, you also find special items available to pick up, including health packs, bombs, shields, and the Shinku Hadouken-like laser beam, which lays waste to anything in your path. There are also 64 upgrades which can be purchased with the credits you earn, including health upgrades, increased firepower, rate of fire, and spread, along with upgrades to your special attacks and special items to start a level with. All of this adds up to a gameplay experience that is both satisfying and extremely fun.
In the standard game mode, there are around 20 levels for the player to take on, each with an astronaut to rescue, an enemy bounty to claim, as well as a boss fight. Some levels even have hidden paths for you to find, leading to a different boss encounter, which opens up a branching path to a new set of levels in the overworld. Upon clearing these levels, there are a handful of extra boss encounters to defeat in order to finish the game. Once you have beaten the game, this opens up New Game Plus, as well as a boss rush mode, which is pretty self-explanatory, and boost mode, where you find yourself in a permanent boost where the only objective is to not crash your ship. No enemies here. This mode can, however, be very frustrating. New Game Plus offers up a more difficult challenge than the original, with more enemies, firing more projectiles, and having more health. Not feeling like you are leveled up enough to take this on? No worries. You can return to your original playthrough to do some grinding if need be, before returning to New Game Plus to show them what you're made of. Overall, the story mode of Habroxia 2 can be beaten in approximately 3 hours or so, and if you want to play through the bonus modes to unlock the Platinum Trophy, this can likely be done in about 7 hours total.
As we mentioned at the beginning, Habroxia 2 is the best game that LillyMo has created. Unlike some other game genres from years ago, shoot-'em-ups have stood the test of time and are still incredibly fun to play in 2021. The beautiful pixel art, combined with a killer soundtrack, perfectly executed twin-stick controls, and multiple game modes all combine into an experience that fans of retro-style games and newcomers alike can appreciate. If you played the first Habroxia, you will notice some reused enemy and boss sprites, but it doesn't take away from the overall fun of the game. We loved our time with Habroxia 2, and we give it an overall score of 8 out of 10.